Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now July 22nd of 2022, and ever since the very end of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, a lot of Star Wars fans have really been looking back at the show and all of the flaws that were created by Deborah Chow and Joby Harold. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing that we do know about both Joby Harold and Deborah Chow is that basically what they did was they took all of the visions by Stuart Beattie, the original writer, by the way, of the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie trilogy, and really, did a flip-flop with all of that. Really changed a lot of the core elements of the character of Reva, and also a lot of the other aspects of Darth Vader as well. Now, on top of that, we already know that everything related to the Kenobi series and what happened in the plot had a lot to do with Kathleen Kennedy calling the shots, and really pretty much forcing, both Joby and Deborah to an extent on what to do with the series, even though that they did agree with Kathleen Kennedy's vision. Now, Joby Harold, alright, he has said before in the past that he has never seen Revenge of the Sith from start to finish in total, and I think that was the first red flag that we should have really, looked into more before the Kenobi series actually debuted. Because for somebody that never really saw Revenge of the Sith from start to finish, it just goes to show you that this writer does not really care about Star Wars. He doesn't really know how Star Wars works or how the fans operate. So moving forward from all of this, the Kenobi writer Joby Harold had a couple of things to say about the character of Reva, the fan backlash, and the Star Wars fans in general, and how they actually provided this feedback against the Kenobi series. So, with Obi-Wan Kenobi as a TV show now out on Disney Plus with Lucasfilm focused on a season 2 that's in the early works already, director Deborah Chow and writer Joby Harold have been more vocal about the Kenobi series and its backlash recently. Now, Joby Harold recently responded to the backlash once again, and the feedback of the Kenobi series, and put blame on the Star Wars fandom for hindering the success of the show and the character of Reva. Joby Harold stated the following to the fans: "I really think that many of the problems we had with the acceptance of the story had a lot to do with the loud minority of fans, convincing other fans that this story was not about Kenobi. Fans keep saying things like, oh, it's all about Reva and Leia. I really don't see that at all and don't understand that logic. To me, they were only side characters supporting the story. It really was the group of fans that convinced so many other fans that Reva was a badly written character. And look, as a writer, we do the best that we can, but to say the character was badly written, I think is just an agenda from fans that don't like the promotion of diversity in the show, which sickens me. It really is the fans' fault for convincing others that we cast this actress for this character as an agenda. This truly was not the case, and to me is absurd. We realized that this character did not become as popular as we had hoped, and I think I can safely put it out there that it was, of course, that these fans that contributed to all of that. It just doesn't make sense to me as a writer how fans can't be open to a new character that lends more elements to the story that will evolve Obi-Wan and his journey to protecting Leia and Luke. I, as a writer, believe that Reva was well written and the fans are just going out of control about how Reva was actually placed into the story as a character that represents diversity. It really makes me sick sometimes to think that this is how fans act against us writers. This loud minority of fans convincing others that this character was a bigger focus than Obi-Wan, to me, is complete nonsense." Okay, so this is the one thing I have to say about that, is when he actually makes it clear that he's completely just mind-boggled over the fact of how fans did not like the character of Reva and how defensive he's getting over the character of Reva, I think it really tells us everything about them. Clearly they were not just minor characters like Reva and Leia. These were clearly characters that were really kind of butting in the way of Kenobi's story. Especially Leia, in my opinion, was way too overused. I feel like that, when you look at everything that was done, you can clearly see that they wanted little to nothing to do with promoting Luke in the Kenobi story at all. Sure, we got him in episode 1, and sure, we got him in episode 6, but that was about it. You know, we didn't really focus on Luke too much, it was all about Leia. And I understand, you know, they needed some kind of plot to get Kenobi off-world. I understand that. But there were better ways to go about doing it than having Leia getting kidnapped twice. You know, I never understood that as well. And what he actually has to say here is even more surprising. So he goes on to say, it's one thing to have a critique if you don't like a character, but to go out of the way to say this, that the series is all about Reva, tells us all about how the fans really feel. As for why I chose to let Reva live by the hands of Vader, this is something that I discussed with Kathleen Kennedy, and she came up with the idea to me, and I thought it was great. We wanted to keep Reva alive for several reasons, which I can't disclose at this time right now, but we wanted to show a better side of Darth Vader. Maybe a side that would let somebody like her live was a good idea to me. It makes perfect sense in my story and what I was aiming for. I didn't want her to die because I also figured that this character deserves so much more in the series. To only be killed off to me was crazy. It's something that I discussed also with Stuart, the previous writer, and he did not understand as well why I wanted to go in that direction, which is okay because we all have our own visions and such for our characters and their fates that they will actually unfold. So, before I get to the next thing here real quick, Joby Harold is the writer that actually said this before the Kenobi series debuted, that Darth Vader really needed to be changed a little bit here and there in the series, and it doesn't make sense to me as to why Darth Vader would even let Reva live. And for some reason, Joby Harold thinks that us questioning that is just really kind of being overdramatic or overreacting. In reality, in the lore, if you guys have read the comics, I don't care if it's Legends or Canon, Vader would have never let anybody live if they knew that he was Anakin Skywalker, alright? Especially a character like Reva, who served as the third sister and planted herself in there as basically some kind of double agent. It just doesn't make sense to me why he would let her live. You know, basically she could go around saying Vader's Anakin to everybody now that she's alive, and Vader doesn't care. That's how poorly written I feel the end of episode 5 was done. And Joby Harold just thinks that was, you know, perfectly well written, and I don't understand that, like he would say. So, the only thing about this that I think is surprising to me is that they're always casting blame on the fans about us having apparent issues with diversity when that's not the case. It's just badly written characters. We love characters like Lando, like Mace Windu, and other characters like Val from Solo: A Star Wars Story. I don't understand. I really just don't understand it all. And when you look at it like that, you know, Joby Harold is another person like that as well, that really just does not see the fans for what they really are. We're just very passionate, and we like to defend what we are very passionate about. Now, if you guys like the Kenobi series, that's perfectly fine. You know, people have different opinions on that, and that's perfectly a-okay with me. So, overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. From night to moon we hear them moans again.